Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on Action Taimanin. Today we're gonna check Asagi. We're gonna do some builds with her. Well, it's more like a general overview. Starting with the skills. Let's analyze all of them because depending on the skills of your character, the type of supporters and strategies that you can do. So, the first skill is going to be Hirenka. This is not a good skill. All launching abilities are not that good because of super armor. If we were able to just launch the enemy into the air regardless of super armor, then that would be good because it gives a little bit of CC. But due to super armor, you're not going to be able to use this on most of challenging contents. So yeah, this is out of the way and we're not even going to analyze it because it's useless for that kind of content. Then we have Munika. This skill is going to make a thirst, a stab, and depending on the set, it can make the enemy groggy, decrease the defense, or reduce the enemy speed. The groggy is not a bad status, but it only works when we have the super armor down. So for challenging content, it's only viable if you're abusing White Feather Aska with your partners. And if it's solo content, if it's like tower, then it's not that good. The other two effects are pretty good, actually. So if you want to use this skill on your blue or red builds, it's phenomenal. Now, we have Rakusenka. Rakusenka, it is actually pretty good. Increases damage if you have 1 blue, restores HP if you have 2 blue, and increases critical damage if you have 3 blue. So this is for a blue set, but you can also use it on a mixed set because the critical damage increase is not going to be working on the higher steps of Taima 5 BR. So instead just use it for the HP recovery. That's the main appeal of this skill. Then we have Senjinka. Senjinka performs consecutive attacks which teleport you in front of the enemy. This is kind of mid. It is not too good and not too bad. You can use this skill for farming. If you have the main supporter as green, it gives an additional attack. The main supporter as blue increases your speed, and the main supporter red makes a bleed. So yeah, among all of these, the best ones are blue for challenging content and green for farming. Then we have Kojinka. Kojinka is Asagi's bread and butter. You have an extreme dodge that reduces the speed of all enemies for 4 seconds. If you have 2 greens, you're going to increase your speed. If you have 2 blues, you're going to have a particle charge by 3%. And if you have 2 red, it increases the duration by 50%. So the blue isn't good, but the green and red are actually good. For green, it is okay if you are playing with a burst strategy. If you can do massive damage quickly and you don't need to use Kojinka again, then it's gonna be super good. On the other hand, if you want to play for a more control focus strategy, then go for red. Then we have Renjinka. Renjinka is going to perform some stabs and 1 sweep attack. And depending on the number of green supporters, is gonna reduce damage taken, which is kind of nice for one of the turret attacks that set you in place. Add 5 additional attacks and increase damage by 150%. So this one, just like Senjinka, it is not bad but not good. Why? These two skills are you are not able to interrupt. So if you perform them, you are going to be set in place, and if you time it poorly, then you're gonna get hit and you may die depending on the kind of content that you're tackling. For daily quests, event quests, bonus event quests, this is fine. Tower even. But VR, no, definitely don't use these two. Then we have Satsujinka, the red one. So this is going to make two clones, 3 if you use all red. And it increases your speed by 10% with 1. With 2, it adds the additional clone. And with 3, it increases the critical rate. So yeah, this skill, it looks good on paper, but there's a problem. You charge it, and then you stay in place and launch the clones. So yeah, the part where you have to stay in place while you do the launching is the one that I don't like. So yeah, that's another skill that I do not recommend. I mean, even the speed increase isn't that good because you have to wait for the animation to finish, so you're gonna lose a couple seconds of that speed increase. Then we have Taimanin art. Taimanin art is super great because Asagi revolves around her basic attacks. So you're gonna increase damage by 10% with 1 supporter. With 2, you increase it an additional 20%. That makes 30% damage increase, and increase particle charge amount by 50% when you have 3 supporters. Yeah, another must-have for most strategies. Then we have Mueka, okay? So this is a teleportation skill. It places you in the back of the enemy. That's good, but it is better with some of these effects. So green is going to increase damage by 10% for 5 seconds. That's awesome. Especially considering that with Kojinka, you are going to increase your speed. So you use Kojinka, then you use Muika, and you're going to be dealing a lot of damage. As I told you, you want to do bursts with green. That's kind of the main strategy. Then for blue, it increases critical rate, which pairs well with Rakusenka because of the critical damage increase. And for red, it reduces the cooldown. No. I mean, yeah, mobility is good and all, but it doesn't have any other benefit other than mobility, which you could simply evade normally. So yeah, use it green or blue. Then we have the 81 skill, which is Shunshinka. Okay, so this makes 5 clones that stab in all directions, and it deals good damage. So to begin with, this is a good skill, especially for farming because it's on all directions. So with 2 green, you knock back the enemy. Good for farming. Besides, you're gonna be dealing a lot of damage thanks to the supporters you may equip. Then increase damage by 20% for 10 seconds with blue. That's good. Definitely good. Especially if we pair it with Munika's defense reduction. And then the last one, the red is going to increase your speed by 20%. So yeah, this is very good, especially with Kojinka. I mean, you use this, then you use Kojinka. I would suggest that you use Shunshinka first because you don't want to waste Kojinka's slow effect performing this attack. Even though if you have troubles launching this skill, performing this skill, you can use Kojinka first. So yeah, you're gonna attack faster while in Kojinka if you use this one first. So yeah, pretty good actually. So now I'm gonna check my notes. And yeah, so Asagi, as you can see, for the looks of this, it is a very easy to use character. It is a good DPS character, and especially against single target. If you want to defeat a boss, then it's very good. For farming, she has options, yes, but she isn't as efficient as other characters for farming. I mean, if you're starting, because this is kind of the first character that you should get, then it's a good option, a good alternative. Besides, you have good control with Kojinka. So yeah, now let's analyze very quickly what kind of supporters you want with her. So let's see. To begin with, you want... she's a melee character, as you saw here on the skills. So any kind of supporter that gives melee damage is gonna be good for her. There's also supporters that give damage against debuffed enemies. Those are pretty good because Asagi has 2 or 3 slows as well as defense down. So yeah, she's gonna constantly debuff the enemy, so you're gonna have the damage increase most of the time. General damage is also good, depending on what kind of build you want to do. For example, let's say that you have this weapon. This is quite rare. It's the butterfly weapon. This increases the speed of your attacks by 2%. No, increases speed by 20% and increases critical damage by 2% for 8 seconds whenever you attack the enemy. So yeah, the 20% increase is what really matters. The critical is appreciated, but yeah, the speed is going to be awesome. In fact, you can also use other supporters which affect speed. For example, this one. This is limited, but Noah Brown increases the speed of assist type characters. So if you want to go for full speed with some damage, she is an option. Remember, she's a human, so you can use human centric supporters. I mean, supporters that help humans, like Lefria. And yes. Lastly, there's one more thing that you should take into consideration. With the blue build, at least 2 blue supporters, you can increase you can make a tank build. So this one is the limited option, but an F2P option would be Akina. Akina is going to restore your HP whenever she gets hit every 15 seconds. So yeah, we put Akina, for example, and we can also put you can, depending on what you're fighting against, you can use Arabella, which I wouldn't recommend unless you're not using her on other characters. You can use... who else? You can use this one because it increases the HP. It gives you immunity to slow. Depending on the stage, it might be useful, but the HP in general is good. It also gives you speed and reduces the enemy's speed. So yeah, it is pretty good, especially on Asagi. And yeah, we have more options for Tanky Blue. This one, which is going to give you a regen if you don't have Murasaki, even though Murasaki is better for her because Blackbeard Kirara is for demons, as you can see. There's also generic supporters that give you damage against your specific target, maybe Koharu for machines, or for melee attacks like Fuyumi. You can go for damage. And what else? Ah yeah, you can go, remember, with 2 greens. For example, you can use with 1 green and 2 blues. using Hisui, for example. So this would give me defense, HP recovery, more HP, and with Rakusenka, I'm gonna get HP restoration. Unfortunately, you also want damage, because the more damage you deal, the higher the amount of HP recovery that you get. Let's see. Another limited option, very good for Asagi, is gonna be this one, Felicia. Increases skill damage and increases damage dealt by assist type characters. It also reduces damage taken. The active, it's viable if you want to put it at the as your main supporter, but it doesn't have like perfect synergy with Asagi. If you're using Felicia as another character in your team, then you're gonna be activating that properly because of the mark. If you have other characters which can heal, like Emily or Shizuru, yes, this is viable. But mainly, let's very quickly mention what kind of supporters you want to use. For green, basically you're going to be using two kinds of supporters. Either critical supporters, like Kaoru, Yuno, Akane, and Suruga. And yeah, you can also go for Lefira and Assault to Harin. On this one, yes, you can use also Nano. That's one option. The other option, depending on what content you're tackling, would be to get damage increase supporters. I don't recommend them that much. I mean, these two are F2P, Kotone and Ichaki. Then we have Akane, which also gives a flat damage increase. We have Holy Knight Rinko, which I cannot use. Look at this, but yeah, you increase the damage of assist type characters, and Asagi is an assist. Tokiko, always useful. Helga, if you're farming dailies, this is good for dailies. And Misaki for VR, now for VR. Fuma Saika, not really. I mean, most times the vast majority of your damage is going to come from the skills, so try not to use supporters which increase skill damage. I mean, you can if you want, and then make a build that revolves around skill damage. And we also have these two. The Founding 3, a generic supporter that you can always use. And of course, Igawa Asagi, White Knight. This revolves around her... this revolves around her going below 30% HP. And it's an anti-demon supporter that also gives her speed. The speed is good. If you're fighting a demon, it's fine to use this one, but I wouldn't recommend using it. Look, we can... If you max it out, it's gonna be 30%. So yeah, it's not that great. There are better options. Then, if you want to use blue, as I told you, you can do a tanky build, or you can do a specialized damage. We have Amane for machines, Onigumo for demon, and Mido Haruka for anti-human. You can use Maika if you want to go against debuffs. There's also many other that work against specific traits. And Felicia, New Year Felicia, if we go limited, because it synergizes perfectly with Asagi. Also Saya is a good option. Then Fuyumi is also good. And of course the tanky options like Murasaki, limited. And Akina, free to play. Also, this is a whole nother topic. It's Little Witch Soup. She's very, very, very good on Asagi because of the butterfly weapon and because she's a very fast attacker. If you want to go full control, like she's a supporter just to freeze the enemy, then you can use, where is she? Noah as a sub slot just to get the increased speed, attack speed. And yeah, then Asagi is going to freeze the enemy. If you have other ways to increase her speed, then the enemies are not going to be able to move, either with the slow or disarm. And red. If you go red, there's like few supporters that are defensive, and I do not recommend to go red defensive. So we have things like Major and Sharia. But mainly, the best red build would be the debuff damage increase. Holy Knight Kirara, Susune, and also Hibiki. Hibiki increases the damage dealt with normal attacks to enemies with debuffs. So, as I said, Asagi focuses a lot on those basic attacks, so she's very, very good. You could also go for limited Fuma Tokiko. Why? Because she reduces the speed of all enemies, which synergizes perfectly with Asagi's gameplay, and also increases damage of normal attacks. You can go with this as a sub slot because the active and the passive in the active are not that good for Asagi. Yeah, you can do that. You can use AO for anti-demon on daily farming. And lastly, you want to go... Spica, this is a special case, like invincibility supporter, always a special case. And you can go with a damage increasing. If you don't have those specialized anti-debuff supporters, then you can use Homura, you can also use Rinka, you can use Barretta, Stella, who else? New Year Shiranui. Again, not recommended to go with the skill damage, but if you want to focus on that, yes, Yukina is a good option. Let's see. Yeah, that's about... also Gal Lilin. Gal Lilin is another good supporter you can use. She's anti-debuffed enemies, so you're gonna get more damage and damage reduction against those. And we got her recently, so yeah, you can use her if you have her. So yeah, that's about it for the kind of supporters that you should look for when building Asagi. Now, let's go with some... Let me check. Yeah, we're gonna go with some builds. Starting with... Well, I have Rakusenka, so let's go with blue. I'm gonna use that. I'm not going to use Kojinka. Instead, I want to use this. Let me check. That's double. This is hold. And this. Yeah. So what am I getting on this build? I'm getting damage reduction, the defense reduction on the enemy. I'm getting critical rate increase and HP recovery as well as critical damage increase. So I'm gonna go with blue damage. Let's see. So here I have Onigumo. Oh, I'm facing the tower. So yeah. Do I have something good that I can use? I mean, I'm gonna use limited supporters. So I'm gonna go with Felicia damage. I don't want to use Arabella because here there are also mobs. Let's go with. We're not gonna abuse the debuffs, so no. Well, what else can I use? Well, I'll use Arabella even if I don't want to. And who else? Asagi, maybe Ish. I think that I have, yeah, this one, I think. Increase damage dealt to demon type characters by 24%. Reduce damage taken for machines. I mean, it's 2% more than this one, so yes, I guess. Yeah, because I don't want to use Murasaki to abuse the active. So I'll go with this one. Yeah. So on the weapon, I have the butterfly weapon. The butterfly weapon is kind of the best. I'm going to do this. Oh, both of these have the butterfly weapon. Okay, so I'll just save this one here. Yeah. And I'm going to remove that so that we can use this one. I'm going to use this one because we received it recently. And it's 4 copies. Mine because I got the pack. So yeah. I have another one, which is this one. I have it 5/5, but I'll go for the other one, since this is similar to what we have. Most players should have. Yep. As you can see, none of these are awakened. This is 4/5. All anti-demon, and let's start this. So the idea here is that we use first the stab, then the teleport, and lastly this one. Something like that. Oh yeah, very nice damage. If I manage. The problem with Asagi is that she is better against single target. If you have too many enemies, she's not good against them. And usually you would want to... Oh my god. It's because I don't remember the commands. Well, yeah, that's good damage. 1.5 million, I think? I didn't see that. I don't like her without the butterfly weapon because she's very slow. I really love the butterfly weapon. But it is kind of what most people are going to use. And the damage is okay. Okay, so I'm just going to use this. There we go. So now let's check how the bosses react. I use this. Stab, teleport, and look at the damage. Good, nice, perfect. So yeah, this is the kind of the main attacker blue build. You can also go with the supporter build, with the defensive build. I say that it's supporter because Kojinka, let me show you. For the other blue build, you would want to drop this one because Asagi is not going to be a main attacker, and you would go with Kojinka. So it is kind of the same, damage reduction, HP recovery, and Kojinka. The only difference would be that we would use defensive supporters. Let's say that you don't have this limited supporter, then you can go with this one. And let's say that we want her to tank more, then we put this now. Okay? You can organize them however you want. After all, Munich is not going to be doing anything. Yeah, I forgot about that because it's with 3. So instead, yeah, you can Monica. Okay, so we can drop Monica to go with Muika. Or you could go with this one, which I do not recommend, but it's active on the main slot, so yeah, you can get a speed increase. Or you could also go for Witch-Su to go full blue if you want to abuse the effect of the active of Witch-Su. I don't remember if it's active or passive, but whatever. So yeah, this is a kind of defensive build that I used to use in Taima 5 BR. You have some damage to recover your HP with Rakusenka, and you have the speed controls with Kojinka. This I use specifically against the Spider Queen. But there's something that you should notice, is that Kojinka, it's a slow on an evade. So you need the enemy to attack, then you may get hit, or you may slow the enemy with some with the attack active. So you have to be careful, because if you slow it with the area of attack active, then you might hit yourself. So that's why I prefer Munica to reduce the enemy's speed with red. And the slow on Kojinka lasts more, so that's better. Yeah. Now let's go with red. Red is probably the best of her builds, especially for F2Ps, because as you saw, I can go premium with this supporter, but I'll go with this one. Good snare, just in case. This one and Susune. So snare on the active. Snare, no. Reduce attack reduction on the active, and I'll change it for this one. This gives speed on an area for your character. So yeah, that's good for Asagi's playstyle. So Kojinka, no, this one no, Munica, and Sachujinka. No, we want this one to deal more damage. You can also use this one on the blue build, but you're gonna be sacrificing Rakusenka, which is kind of the biggest appeal of that. If you have, for example, Felicia on your team on VR to mark the enemy, and you want Asagi to be the main damage dealer, yes, you can use this instead, because you're gonna recover HP that way. If you have other ways to recover HP rather than with this attack, yeah, it's fine. Maybe supporters from another character which give you HP. So yeah, as I said, we're gonna use this. Now, let's go with red. Yeah. You're gonna notice that this deals a lot of damage and it has good control. This is kind of the best build you can use, especially when starting, because Homura, which is kind of a very good F2P supporter, is red. Look at that, beautiful. Damage increase and Munica to inflict a debuff. And yeah, remember that my weapons are not enhanced which means I can deal even more damage if I enhance them, and I would be critting like crazy. You see how those crits are like 100,000, 150,000 damage? Well, now imagine like you did it yourself, that you enhance that weapon. I'm not going to enhance Asagi's weapons for a while. I have other priorities. Depending on how the new character looks, I might go for her, depending on her playstyle. So yeah, that's red. Okay, come on, come on, come on. Like this, I do this, I do this. Damage, speed. Damage. Yeah, the increased duration is super good on Asagi. The speed duration increase on the Kojinka. Because it gives you too much control on your enemy. As you can see, they are not able to... What? Well, that's a thing, I guess. Yeah, there we go. Easy peasy. And thanks to Kirara, I also have a little bit of HP recovery. So yeah, very easy playing with Asagi. Remember, if you do have the butterfly weapon, that's the better weapon. In fact, Asagi's weapons... No, I'll leave that for later. Because I want to finish with the builds. Now, we're gonna go... Remember, this is kind of the best. Because... The best for red. Because everything else that red offers gives you less damage. 20% damage increase. And well, in this kind of content, yes, you make crits, so it is like more technically. 30% damage increase, that's less. Let's see. What else? What else? This one would give you more damage if you use it properly. And yeah, kind of it. Yeah. So now we're gonna go with green. The best option, you have like things that would give you damage overall, depending on what kind of stage you are facing. But those aren't the best that you can use with green. What you want to do with green, with Asagi, is go full critical. This is best for everything but VR, because VR is not going to be able to deal damage. Instead, on VR you want to use these two free supporters or specialized damage against certain enemies. So yeah, I'm gonna go with this one, Kaoru, and I'm going to go with Akane, and lastly I'm going to go with Suruga, the deadly combo, you know? This is gonna crit a lot, and Kojinka is gonna give me speed so that I can melt the enemies while the slow is active. Then this one I'm going to change. Did I selected that skill? I think so. So I'm gonna go with Senjinka because I have absurd critical damage, and this is gonna be this is gonna allow me to deal with the mobs quickly. And then this one is fine. I don't know. You already know how busted this is, so I'll use this one, and I'm going to use this. You want to go with Muika because you get a damage increase on that skill. So yeah, let's test that. Okay. So the crits are not as thick as the ones that I did when I was doing the red build, but they are good. They are more consistent. So yeah, the red is probably the best strategy for damage. I cannot believe that I'm not activating my... Why do you become groggy when I don't want you to become groggy? Well, I just want to activate Kojinka, but they won't hit me on time. Like this. Yeah. 200,000 damage, yeah, that's nice on a crit. If you activate your skills properly. This is definitely better if you use the butterfly weapon. I mean, this build in particular, because you want to melt the enemy as fast as possible. So yeah, active and... Oh, come on. Why won't... Okay. Yeah, I'm missing this one. Let's see how good it is. Yeah. Teleporting, dealing a lot of damage. Wait. That skill is affected by the weapon that I have. So, actually, it's pretty good with that weapon and with a green build. Because you get a ton of hits. But yeah, it is good for fighting against mob of enemies. And yeah, there we go. Yeah, I was wondering, why am I not dealing with the enemies faster? Yeah, it's because I'm not using that skill. There we go. So, there's also the option to go mix, as usual. Just be careful. Munica won't allow you to go mix. This one is okay to go mix. This and this, I do not recommend too much. This one is better not to go mix. This one, if you want to use the speed increase for some reason, it's okay. This one allows you to go mix. Yeah, most skills. Only Munica is the one that you cannot use on a mix build. I mean, you can use it if you want the damage from that specific skill, but you won't get the other benefits. So, yeah. Before we finish, we also have to check the weapons that Asagi has. So, starting with the standard ones. Number 1, we have this. This increases attack damage by 2% for 8 seconds, stacked up to 50 times, lose all stacks upon being attacked. And you can remove stacks to deal damage. Yeah, forget about the active. This one is good and not good. The fact that you lose all the stacks upon being attacked is terrible, because even with Asagi's control, you are going to lose those stacks eventually. It happens a lot. Unless you are on a super slow strategy, which is kind of difficult if you're only playing with Asagi. And then we have the Rebellious Weapon. Generic good. If you have it, is fine, especially for daily content, events maybe. Yeah, but because you're not going to receive any benefit from using this on VR other than the stats. This is an arrow, so we're gonna skip. And this one, yes. Reduce all enemies' speed for 1 second when using Rakusenka. Let's see. Rakusenka. Blue. Yeah, it is not better than the Su Witch strategy, because Rakusenka takes a good amount of time to do its animation. So you're losing slow time on doing that skill. So yeah, it is not that impressive and it's not that good. Increases basic attack damage by 15% and increases critical rate of skills by 15. Well, those two are not negligible, you know? A 30% damage increase flat when maxed out, it is pretty good. And increased critical rate of skills, yeah, I can take that. Then, wait a moment, I want to check the stats. So, yeah, not too bad in comparison to the limited weapon. Now, the limited weapon increases skill damage by 25%. That's become 50% once it's maxed out. And it also performs a counterattack that deals damage and knocks back the enemy when dodging immediately after being attacked. So, yeah, it is okay-ish, but remember, most of the damage that you deal comes from your basic attack rather than skills. If you want to abuse skills, yeah, this is fine. But they didn't thought properly about these skills when they did this passive when they did the weapon. Now, and besides, this is the first limited weapon. It when the game launched, they released this kinda. So yeah, increase normal attacks damage against snare enemies. Normal attack deal damage against normal attacks deals 42% damage against random enemies. So yeah, well, kind of not good. I mean, yes, we snare enemies on higher stages, but it doesn't offer that much other than damage. I mean, I prefer the 30% flat if you max this out. Now, this one is definitely the best, always, for all the characters that have this weapon available. And it's the butterfly weapon. Increases speed by 20% and increases critical damage by 2% for 8 seconds whenever you attack the enemy. Stack up to 50 times, lose all stacks upon being attacked. Kind of the same as this one, as Naraku, but with the speed increase, which is flat, always active. So yeah, that's a weapon that's very viable. Unfortunately, she doesn't have kind of very good SRs. There are some characters who have good SRs. I mean, speed increase by 2%, speed increase by 20. Yeah, for 5 seconds during normal attacks, step up to 5 times. Let's say that's... I don't know why I don't have this maxed out, but whatever. So, let's say that it's a substitute of this. You could use it only specifically for the Witch-Su exploit. When you want to abuse a debuff like slow. But other than that, I don't recommend that you use the SR weapons. So yeah, that's about it. Now I'm going to give a quick evaluation so that you understand what you can do with this character. Asagi is good for daily content, good for starting the game, but it quickly falls off because she doesn't have AoE, a good AoE attacks. The what's the name? Asagi, yeah. This one. The Senjinka, it's kind of okay once you factor in the green build and the weapon. This weapon, I also forgot this weapon, increase attack speed of Senjinkan by 35% and adds 3 additional attacks. A cross sharp enemy, blast its left, blah. When you use Senjinka, you deal more damage. So, it is very good to use Senjinka for farming, but that's about it. And this one, these two skills are Senjinka and Sunshinka are kind of the best options for farming. But if you take into consideration the cooldown, 30 seconds, 11 seconds. No, yeah, it's fine. You can use her for farming, but these are not the best options. Good farmers are kind of like Astaroth, Micah, of course, Emily and Shisui, especially those two. So yeah, she is gonna struggle against enemies with super armors because you're not going to be. They might attack you and interrupt you. Asagi has uh, a decent amount of super armor on her attacks, but she gets interrupted usually. So you would have to position yourself properly to actually deal good damage. So yeah, and not get your actions interrupted. If you want to use her at the beginning is fine, but she quickly can be replaced by Emily or Astaroth. So yeah, that's gonna be about it for today, and I'll be seeing you next time. Bye!